I did not finish this beer before filming.
It's gonna be like a musical feel, because I feel like when I think of New York Street,
very like Jets and Sharks. Like... Yes. Yes, I'm into it.
Cause now we got bad.
You know we used to be mad love.
There goes Voldemort with his magic fingers.
Yeah, just
wait.
Ready to do this?
No.
My name is Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have with me my BFF, James. Today we're going to be filming the Bookish Equations Tag. I was tagged in this by Megan and Sue over at the restricted section. I will link their video down below, as well as the original video, which once again, I'm blanking on who created it. Sorry, I suck at YouTube. Anyway, the premise of this tag is that we have these 4 glasses here. They're filled with beautiful colored sticky notes. And in each of these cups we have either an author, a genre, a topic, or a protagonist. Some of our protagonists are very specific. Some of them are just like general people types.
People types.
Same with kind of our genres. Like some of them are really specific and some of them are just like kind of general and vague. So we're gonna draw one thing from each cup, and then the idea is to like see if you think it would work. We're just gonna try and make it work. No matter what it is. Like we're going to make it work. So yeah, let's get this party started, I guess. So I will draw our author and genre, and James will draw our topic and protagonist, because they're the nearest to us, and that's how life works sometimes.
And I have short arms, so
he does have tiny little arms. Also use sticky notes, which is probably a dumb choice, but like, whatever,
I can hear them unfolding.
John Wyndham, who's my favorite sci-fi author, writing a drama.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
About Battle of the Bands.
Oh, a Battle of the Bands. Okay, okay.
With the protagonist of The Rock.
Yes!
Ah.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
Okay, so The Rock is starting a band, but like, I feel like the band that The Rock is starting is like a Taylor Swift cover band.
Obviously.
And they're battling versus like a Katy Perry cover band.
What else?
And then the whole thing, because obviously that whole situation is very dramatic, because how could it not be, gets like invaded by like some sort of like killer bees from outer space or something.
Bees from outer space.
That's what I'm thinking. So the whole thing gets invaded, and then the 2 bands have to like join forces to defeat these killer bees from outer space.
Nice.
Right.
Rock could do that on his own.
He totally could, but he's really focused on trying to be Taylor Swift. So he like just is, you know, having a hard time with it.
I don't care what you say, The Rock already is better than Taylor Swift.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's like really dramatic leading up to the climax where the killer bees from outer space show up. Like these 2 bands are like really having it out, like Katy Perry versus T Swift, just like really battling of the bands. And then all of a sudden these killer bees from outer space show up and they're all like crying, right? Because of course they are, because it's a drama and it's about like teen-ish women.
And
even though they're like, yeah, and The Rock, because he's a very emotional person. And then they have to like resolve their differences to try to fight these killer bees from outer space.
But how do
like,
they fight them?
With the power of song, obviously.
Yeah.
They're sweet, sweet harmonies, James. But they have to go to like group therapy to develop their sweet, sweet harmonies. And that therapy is hosted by like Whoopi Goldberg and Sister Act.
Yes!
And they team up and sing a sweet, sweet duet to defeat the killer bees from outer space.
Love it.
And then everybody cries again at the end because they learned that teamwork is the only answer.
And then they make a giant, like, I don't know, like a mega band, mega
Yes.
cover band.
Yes, and they
where
cover
it's like Katie Swift.
yes, Katie Swift or
Or
Taylor Perry.
Taylor
right,
Perry.
exactly. Nailed it. Stephen King.
Perfect.
Yes, always perfect. Writing a magical realism story
Okay.
about
Rags to riches.
Rags to Riches. Okay. Starring sexy.
Voldemort.
Oh, Lord Voldemort, yes.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is actually kind of perfect. I feel like. So, like, Lord Voldemort's story is a rags to riches story. Like, kind of already. Like, he uses questionable means to get there, but he's already, like, born into this family who's, like, not the best, and he's, like, in an orphanage, and then he goes to Hogwarts, and he, like, gets really fucking bomb as hell at magic. And then he becomes super rich and super powerful and gets all these followers. So, like, his story's already kind of a rags to riches story. So I say we take him and we put him in the Muggle world, right?
So it's kind of magical realism.
Right, so, like, we don't explain where his magic comes from at all. Like,
But it's just
magical
accepted.
shit just starts happening and everybody's like, oh yeah, that fucker just, like, made shit appear out of nowhere.
Okay, the magical realism is his nose. How is it so small?
How is Voldemort's nose even a nose? That's the real
It's just
question.
two nostrils on his face!
James is so confused. And I feel like Stephen King would write that horse shit because Stephen King is just like, oh yeah, this just happens and nobody needs to know why.
Except he would spend like 30 pages describing like the house Voldemort lives in.
As a child, and then another 30 pages as an adult. And then also he would spend like a lot of time talking about, you know, like some weird sex scene. Like, I feel like he does a lot of like weird sex scenes. So it'd be like Voldemort and Bellatrix having sex. All right, next book is Stephanie Meyer of the Twilight series writing a autobiography / memoir.
A
Coming of age story. Okay, this is already working.
Yeah.
What is our protagonist? It's an autobiography or memoir, like, right?
I
Yes!
got a gay.
Okay, so this is Stephanie Meyer's story.
She's gay.
She's gay. She's
Now.
telling the whole world that she is out and proud. So. J.K. Rowling wrote a, these are all like real stuck together, it sounds really inappropriate. A fantasy, okay.
Oh,
Alright.
whoa, whoa.
Fucking shocking.
About the Civil War.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And the protagonist is
Dun, 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 dun.
Three
The Three
Musketeers.
Musketeers. I kind of like this.
This could be cute.
This could be real cute. So J.K. Rowling is writing a Civil War story, and the Three Musketeers are fighting in the Civil War, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're on the same side because they're the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
And she needs to make it so. So I'm assuming that they're fighting for the North. Because obviously J.K. Rowling is going to give her protagonist some sort of magical abilities.
Obviously.
Right. Like, I assume. So she's going to give them some sort of magical abilities that nobody else knows about. And they're going to win the war for the North. And she's going to totally rewrite history.
What would you make?
The magical abilities?
Yes.
Ooh, good question. Maybe like some sort of magical health regeneration so that they could heal the troops. Or like give them the ability to regenerate ammo.
Okay.
So that like the guns will never run out of ammo.
Or what if the Three Musketeers could be like Power Rangers and like Mighty Morph into like a musketeer?
But that's actually also a dinosaur because I'm into that.
Yes.
Why wasn't one of our protagonists the fucking Power Rangers, by the way?
Oh
Son
my
of a
God.
bitch, we fucked it up. Next story is written by Ray Bradbury, and it is a sci-fi story. Okay, that works because Ray Bradbury writes sci-fi.
Okay.
Regarding a road trip. Ooh, I like it.
Starring something.
Some
One of these
many
four.
things, starring so many people and things.
Typically books do.
As they do, yes. Starring.
Young married couple.
I like it. Okay, so Adam and I are going on a road trip.
Okay.
Written by Ray Bradbury. And we get abducted by aliens. Which
So
would explain
usual
so
Friday
much
night.
about us, right? That's like just kind of a Friday in my life. And then I guess just like shit goes awry. You know? This young married couple, myself, and my husband Adam, who happens to be standing right there staring at me like I'm crazy.
I heard my name in the other room.
Yeah,
So you can't.
that'll happen. So he came out to it. And since Ray Bradbury is writing the story, we are either going to be abducted by aliens or lit on fire. Take
Or
your pick.
both.
Or oh yes, the aliens abduct us and then light us on fire. Okay.
I don't appreciate that.
I'm sorry that you don't appreciate that, but that's just what's going to happen if
Maybe-
Ray Bradbury is writing our story. So yes, Ray Bradbury writing a sci-fi about a young married couple on a road trip could totally happen.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. Moving along. Nicholas Sparks.
Can't wait to see where
Yes. Writing a horror or slasher story
this goes. Oh god.
about
Moving
into a new apartment. Okay, starring
1 year, I'll get this open.
starring a clumsy,
awkward
awkward teen. Okay. Honestly, other than the horror slasher thing, these all fit together relatively well.
Yeah.
So Nicholas Sparks is trying to write one of his regular romance stories.
Where it's like,
A clumsy, awkward teenager who's like moving into her first college dorm.
okay.
Okay. And then when moving in, learns that there's like a murderer living on campus.
No. For Nicholas Sparks, it has to start off with like some sort of cheesy romance.
Okay, so she meets this guy in
Who's
her
so
first week of class. He's
dreamy.
so dreamy.
Ah.
Yes, he's so dreamy and he's so motherfucking charming,
Mhm.
right? And then it turns out that he's a psychotic killer.
That makes him even dreamier.
Yeah, and she's just like, I can change him. You know, I can change him and our relationship will be fucking beautiful.
Maybe he can murder my vajayjay.
Right, like, and that's just like where she's at, and then they have sex and everything is really weird, but she like has her first orgasm and her life is beautiful. And then suddenly he turns on her because he's a fucking murderer.
Yes.
And that's what they do. And then he kills her, and then he doesn't understand why he can't find love elsewhere. And that's just where the story ends.
Why do these hands murder those I love?
Right, like he can't figure out his life, and then he tries to go see a therapist, and then maybe because he can't get over his murder spree, he murders his therapist. Like, we don't know.
Never-ending cycle.
We don't know his life,
Murder.
but that's what's happening in this Nicholas Sparks slasher story, where this teenager finds love, and then it kills her.
Love kills.
So the next author we have is L. Frank Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz. And he wrote a historical fiction about
Unintentional time travel.
starring.
Jane Eyre.
Ooh, okay. I'm actually like not mad at this.
No. That
I
could
mean,
work
like,
out
here's the
pretty well.
thing. I honestly fucking hate Jane Eyre. That's a real thing in my life. That book is terrible.
Yeah.
Everything about that book is terrible. Like, Jane Eyre, the character, is probably the least terrible part, but, like, she's still pretty fucking terrible.
She's written terribly.
Which makes me sad, because, like, one of my other very good friends, that's her favorite book ever written, but, like, I just can't get behind it. But I could see L. Frank Baum, who wrote the Wizard of Oz books, which wound up with several characters who unintentionally traveled through, like, space and dimensions and things.
True.
Right? Like, into this other world beyond the rainbow. I could see that instead of traveling to a different space, they traveled to a different time.
Yeah.
Like, unintentionally riding in their hot air balloon. Right? Like, Jane Eyre is in a hot air balloon, trying to get away from Rochester, who's, like, an abusive fuck, honestly.
Right. To be frank.
And then she ends up in, like, say, our time.
Okay.
Okay? And, well, I guess this is a historical fiction, so I guess she has to travel further back in time. But maybe it starts out as historical and then it ends up in our time. Because I feel like I
can
prefer...
time jump.
Yeah, so she's going back and
Both
forth.
directions.
And, like, so maybe it's kind of like a Kindred type story where, like, she's traveling back and forth through time and she's trying to figure her fucking life out.
So when would she travel back to?
Back to maybe like the prehistoric era, and she'd be like with dinosaurs. Yes. So it'd be like Jane Eyre meets the Wizard of Oz meets Jurassic Park meets Kindred.
Jane
Jurassic Park.
Jane Jurassic Park. Oh my god.
So, like, the Wizard of Oz is, like, traveling back with her through time, right? And he's trying to help her figure out how to conquer these prehistoric creatures.
Okay, no, he's, like, pretending to be a T-Rex, but he's actually, like...
a man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
A ferocious T-Rex roar.
Right.
And then she travels to the future, and then learns about green screens. Sorry.
Yeah, and then she's just like, who is this fuck even? And then she, like, totally unveils the entire scheme that, like, the Wizard of Oz, like, made up dinosaurs. They're not even real.
It was just Jurassic Park.
It was just Jurassic Park all along. And he also made up the Land of Oz, and, like, she's actually just been drugged, and, like, it's a whole thing.
Shit.
It's a whole thing. Shit hits the fan, honestly. So, and that's what's happening there. It becomes like this weird steampunk story about Jane Eyre unraveling the wizard's whole scheme.
I like it, actually.
Yeah, and it involves dinosaurs, because, like, why the fuck not?
That makes the book, like, 5 times cooler.
Accurate. And then the last one we have. Margaret Atwood writing a dystopian, that works,
Nice.
about
an affair or scandal
okay,
starring Jay Gatsby.
I like this, kind of. So this is like a Great Gatsby retelling, in my mind.
Okay.
Okay, so, like, The Great Gatsby is already kind of about an affair / scandal. Okay, so we take that general storyline and we put it in the not too distant future instead of in the 1920s. We put it in, like, the 3020s, say. Yes.
Okay.
When the world has totally gone to shit.
It's well on its way.
Right. and like, the only thing people have to cope with the state of the political system in the world is just, like, boning each other.
That sounds about right. Especially for America.
Yeah. And it's like the American dream, but it's really the American nightmare.
STDs.
Right, it's like STDs, unwanted pregnancies, accidentally running a bitch over with your car and ripping her boob off.
Whoops.
Because that happens in Gatsby, and the women are now stuck after being, like, fucked over by these dudes trying to fix everything. So like Margaret Atwood would take like the plot of Gatsby, put it 200 years past, like in the future from when Gatsby actually takes place, and then take it so that all these women who in the actual book of Gatsby are kind of weak, semi-useless characters, and she would make them take everything, pick it up, put it back together, and be like, all right, we're fixing this shit. And that's what I think would happen.
I like it.
And 10 out of 10, I would read that. So that is our Bookish Equations tag. I did not think of people to tag in this because I'm useless at YouTube. So I will tag Jade at Jade a Reader. And I will tag Janelle. So yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, share, do all the shit. Links for my social media will be down in the description. If you want to see James's beautiful face again, let me know. I will bring him back. Have a great day. Bye.